Today on DPRK, and I wish to add some insight into Middle East, especially Arabia Peninsula, for my little I wish to add some value to your understanding of the topic of non-proliferation from the nuclear power perspective. You need something to protect against proliferation, and that something is nuclear power, right? So I will give you some overview, and especially on the Iran issue, and UAE, and KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they have two large programs on the SMR front, small medium-sized reactor, and the large reactor. And then this Middle Eastern scenario does connect to the Korean Peninsula issue, and I will conclude. How did I get to the Arabian connection? It all started with this simple book called Nuclear Silk Road, which was published in 2011. Right after the Korean big project of the UAE project. And this was written in English intentionally to reach out to the audience like yourself. A year later, it was translated into Chinese and then into Arabic. So that's how I ended up in Saudi Arabia as a nuclear advisor. Now, just to give you an overview, the latest IAEA PRIS database shows the global nuclear power plant status in operation of 440 some units, but Middle East and Southeast Asia it represents only very little. However, if you look under construction category, it really jumps up to 22%, which means a lot of construction is going on there. Can you darken this part of the, just to make the screen a little more visible. If you look at the map, the Arabian Peninsula is huge. Oh, thank you. And Saudi Arabia is, of course, among the largest. And we have a nuclear site right across this Gulf, the Gulf. In Iran side is a Bushehr nuclear power plant, right here. And then about 1,000 kilometers south, straight south from it, is Bushehr NPP, okay? Baraka, Bushehr is here. Bushehr NPP is in the Iran side. Baraka NPP is in the UAE side. And they are this is maybe the largest single construction site today. And then candidate sites for the Saudi program, the big large power reactor sits right here, right under the Qatar borderline, about 100 kilometers from the Baraka site. And then in the western coast, in the Yanbu site, sits the candidate site for the SMART, the small medium reactor site. And so let me start with Iran. Iran is a full member of the IAEA, of course, and then NPT. And they have a long history of nuclear reactor and nuclear research way back about 50 years. So they do have solid fundamentals, including the full fuel cycle. However, since the revolution of 1979, they have suffered severe sanctions from all over the world, especially USA, and they have a difficult position now. Now, this Bushehr Unit 1 has a very unique, interesting history. After about 40-some years of under construction, they reached final stage of operation back in 2011. And 1,000 megawatt VVER, Russian design. However, it started with the German design. Can you imagine that? The German reactor convoy plant was totally demolished and re-engineered, redesigned to become a VVER, which is now full operation. Now, because of their total isolation from the rest of the world, they also endeavored in the enrichment technology, which has caused, of course, serious concern over the proliferation potential because of the suspicion over weapons capability, of course. But their claim is to produce enough uranium for the Bushehr plant. Okay, which doesn't make sense economically, but that's what they choose to do. So you all know about the Joint Commitment of Program of Action, so-called JCPOA, of Iran, which is kind of a bargaining between the curtailing enrichment versus lifting all the economic sanctions. After, I believe, almost 5 years of long deliberating negotiations, back in the July of 2015, P5 plus one is Germany here, agreed on the JCPOA with Iran, yeah? But this only lasted 3 years, where US unilaterally pulled out, which you all know about. And this is an interesting situation because only in the whole world, besides USA, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and UAE, only 4 countries endorsed this unilateral withdrawal of the USA. So, the remaining, without USA, P5 now became P4, plus Germany, they remain unchanged. And, of course, all the verification goes on with the reduction of their curtailing enrichment is now certified by IAEA, their normal routine safeguards inspection. Now, what does it mean to the North Korean denuclearization issue, which you probably talked about yesterday, of CVID, so-called? I'm aware that Iran is now, with this JCPOA program, they are about to produce 190,000 Seoul of enrichment. That's enough to deliver 1.5 reactor year of 4% low-enriched uranium for their single-unit Bushehr nuclear power plant. That seems to be the reality here today. The reasons for US withdrawal, what I am able to discover by the US government is these 3 points. First is that the UN inspectors are not allowed onto Iranian military sites, which is normally a practice, but in this case, President Trump decides to make this as a big issue. And then, omission of Iran's ballistic missile program was not even mentioned in the JCPOA. So it's only the enrichment, but not the missile side, where the delivery of the weapons. And then finally, the sunset clause. Sunset clause is that the JCPOA is supposed to expire after 10 years, and nothing was mentioned afterwards. What would happen to the deal after 10 years? So this altogether gave enough reason for the USA to pull out. Now, this is creating a huge regional insecurity. I'm sure you're all aware that Iran is military confrontation with Israel and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, potentially. And then Iran continued to support Syria, prolonging its miserable civil war, which has been going on almost 7 years now. And then the Yemen situation is even getting worse with their proxy war against Kingdom Saudi Arabia by supporting Houthi rebels. And this is in the news every day. Even this morning I heard. Now, this is the point I want to get your attention. The shipping, the huge oil container ships going through the Strait of Hormuz could be disrupted because of the region. The Iran has a military power. Now, this is deepening in my living experience in the Arabian region. I became aware of the huge schism between Sunni and Shia Islam. Among the Islam, although they are same brothers, same Islam religion. However, Sunni Islam, which is headed by Saudi Arabia and all those other neighboring countries, and Shia, they are the dominating Islam. 85% of the whole world's Islam is Sunni. Only remaining 15% is Shia. Nevertheless, they are very powerful and strong, headed by Iran. So Sunni and Shia schism is much bigger and serious than I have ever anticipated. All right? So this Strait of Hormuz situation is, they have alternate routes, by the way, to avoid the Hormuz. By the UAE case, they have Abu Dhabi crude pipeline, and Saudi Arabia case, they have East-West pipeline already built and operating. And we need to understand what this pipeline is up here. Abu Dhabi pipeline goes from here to here, okay? UAE has a territory, 7 Emirates, which goes from Abu Dhabi to Fujairah here, so which can bypass this strait. This is Hormuz, right? For Saudi Arabia, all the oil production is happening here, northeast. So typically all their shipping of the cargo comes to this strait, through the Hormuz. However, they built east-west pipeline from here to the west coast, Yanbu. So about half of the production capacity, 1,000, can be sent through this pipeline. So that Iran's threatening the Hormuz Strait, at least half of their production capacity comes through alternate routes, as I show you in the Abu Dhabi pipeline and the East-West pipeline. Okay, now this Middle East situation has some relevance to our situation in the Korean Peninsula, because between Iran and North Korea, they have been long time very close allies. And historically, over the last 40-some years, there have been only two countries surviving the US sanctions. And this brings them both in the same difficult situation, so they have a lot to share. And then, of course, Iran has enrichment technology, namely centrifuge, whereas North Korea has very high-level missile technology, and that's natural that they cross fertility. Now, one project I want to bring your attention happened back in 1995 to 2006 is the Shinpo Kedo Laboratory project, which was initially started after the first nuclear crisis in North Korea to build a two-unit 1,000 megawatt PWR exact duplicate of Ulchin 3 and 4 unit, which is already operational in South Korea. However, after the discovery of enrichment, which is we presume it's smuggled from Iran, was discovered in the North Korean side, so the entire KEDO project, LWA project, was abandoned after nearly 10 years of construction. After 35% progress, $1.5 billion was spent, it was mothballed. And only fortunate aspect of that is the entire construction site is fully preserved for future restart. Okay, this is a huge order, but that's what did happen. So we could see Iran and North Korea connection in these areas, and especially one sacrifice scapegoat was the KEDO LWA project, which had to be scrapped after 11 years of construction. Unfortunate, but that's reality. Now, very recently, Middle East, especially the Sunni Islam states, namely Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Egypt, Jordan. These 8 countries put together what's called Arab NATO. Very recently, this is all the Sunni states. And tried to set up a front line against the Shia Iran. Okay? And they have a lot to share in the missile defense issue and military training and even counterterrorism are the topics. And US is definitely supporting the MESA idea. And Middle East security issue is currently a very critical common interest. Now, only among these 8 countries, Qatar seems to be a potential obstacle because they tend to promote an independent diplomacy line. Okay, enough on Iran. And on UAE side, Baraka is the single largest construction project since year 2009, and Korea, the KEPCO, the Korea Electric Company, was the main contractor for delivering 4 units of 3rd generation 1400 megawatt size huge NTP. Now, Unit 1 is completed as of last May, and then Unit 2, 3, and 4 is much higher progress rate to be fully completed by year 2020. And they are ready for fuel loading. Now, ENEC, Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation, is the owner for the construction, whereas NAWA, which is the operator after construction, is operator for the all 4 units of the Baraka. When they are operational, they will deliver about a quarter of the nation's electricity. And FANA, Federal Agency for Nuclear Regulation, is the regulator for what they call 3S, safety, security, and safeguards. And of course, they signed up with the US, so-called 123 agreement, and the highest so-called gold standard, which is a very special case.
Dr. Kim, you have 5 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. I'll finish. The Baraka site, seen from the helicopter, a very recent shot. You will see Unit 1, 2, 3, 4 already visible from far side. And this is the Gulf area. And Unit 1, the first unit, is ready for operation now. Unit 2, 3, and 4 will immediately follow. And this is the single largest NPT construction site anywhere in the world today. All right, now for the Saudi Arabia. Of course, they have declared to reduce oil dependency, but their difference from the UAE is not just the electricity production, but they are more keen on the manpower, human, to provide high jobs for the Saudi nationals. Okay? Now, the Saudi Arabia is rapidly changing, so that they're opening up. They're going through a huge change for the so-called Vision 2030, and they declare the nuclear power plant sites in the large reactor on the Gulf Coast, near the Gulf border, and small medium-sized reactor, so-called SMART, on the West Coast. So the SMART is a unique project now pursued together with the Korean partner, because they are going through pre-project engineering phase now, getting ready for the folk plant construction. Folk means first of a kind. The first of a kind to be built in Saudi Arabia, in the Yanbu West Coast. And then they have an ambition to join marketing in the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa region, when it's built in Saudi Arabia first. And so they're very much pursuing the manpower. And you can see historically, last 14, 17 years, Korea alone developed the SMART technology, but since last 3 years, ending end of this year, joint program with Korea and Saudi Arabia, going through pre-project engineering and ready for the eventual construction in the Saudi Arabia. So the PPE, so pre-project engineering, is now underway with about 50-some KK. KK is the Saudi Arabian Nuclear Authority, design team dispatched to Korea since 2016. And they're going through a full list of training and OJT and OJP until end of this year. So it's now underway. It's right Cary campus, about a few kilometers from here. Now, this folk engineering is, when it's finished, it will produce PSAR, Preliminary Safety Analysis Report, to be submitted to the regulatory of Saudi Arabia. And this is the kind of an artist's view of how the two-unit SMART would look like in the Saudi Arabian coast. What would they do after next year, when the PPE is finished? They will achieve critical manpower buildup, for sure. 50-some people in Cary, and then additional manpower being trained at KINS. KINS is a Korean nuclear regulatory, also very near from here. And the sites for the SMART is getting ready, and then the regulatory licensing approach is now underway with what's happening in Korean side and in the Saudi side. So we hope to see the construction starting very soon. Now, the other side of the Saudi program is a large reactor, which is the stated goal is about 16 large-size power reactors to deliver about 18 gigawatt, but they are now bidding for the first 2 units, where 5 countries, US, Russia, China, France, and Korea, are shortlisted for the international competition. So when this is built, this will be located in the East Coast, as I showed you. What does it all mean with the Korean situation? Now, the North Korea denuclearization is so-called CVID, as you're well aware. But as of today, after the big summits, US and North Korea seems to be on the deadlock, who does first, yeah? Whether you should declare, North Korea should declare their inventory of entire nuclear stock, or the US side should declare the end of the war, Korean War. This is now under big debate right now. So in my summary, I'm sure my time is up, just to try to capture you the nuclear power plant construction is very active in the Middle East. UAE leads the way with the Baraka MPP nearing completion. And then Saudi Arabia is pursuing 2 tracks, small size SMR plus large reactor for the manpower development as well as, of course, the nuclear energy, electricity production. And then Iran is continuing its operation of the Bushehr Unit 1 since already 7-8 years now. So if you want to look at all this from the proliferation perspective, the UAE side, at least you can assure that FANA is well established for the full scope of 3S safety, security, safeguards implementation, whereas Saudi Arabia is now trying to start up a new regulatory body currently under care, but now they want to announce it fully independent this year sometime to conduct entire full spectrum of 3S as well. So in summary, I could say Iran, JCPOA is now being implemented but under severe scrutiny, and this raises lots of uncertainties. Hope I covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim.